Day and wishes all viewers a very happy Diwali.
Hello and welcome to Hot Money Technicals on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. This is the show which gets you a complete wrap of all the stocks that are buzzing in trade. I'm Darshan Mehta. Let's welcome our experts then. Raja Venkatraman of Chart Advice, Kunal Rambhia of The Streets, an independent technical analyst and mentor, NS Fidai, join us on the show now. Thank you to all for joining me. Before we start the show, let's head across to Yash Upadhyay, who has a chart on Hindustan Copper. So Yash, what is the chart indicating?
Good morning, Darshan. So the first chart is actually on Hindustan Copper, and a sell call is coming in, is what the terminal is indicating using the stochastic indicator. So Hindustan Copper on a year-to-date basis has been under severe selling pressure, down almost 48% on a year-to-date basis. And over the last couple of sessions, we've seen that after falling to as low as about 50, it has seen a bit of a retracement on the higher side. But the move seems to have been overextended, as the stochastic indicator that has crossed below the white line, indicating a sell signal. And the beauty of it is that on a last 1 year basis, every time you went short when the indicator turned negative, it would have given you a positive return of more than 6%.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Hindustan Copper. We'll ask our guests what they feel about Hindustan Copper before we move on to their picks. So, Raja, Happy New Year, first of all.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What did you make of Hindustan Copper?
Yes, like you pointed out, the stock has been descending quite a bit, and the negative momentum still continues to be present. And the recent rally, which is seen towards the 55 levels, does indicate a shorting opportunity here. And one should actually be looking at this from a negative point of view. Even the negative DI lines are inching up on the ADX indicator, which definitely says that there is still a bearish momentum in this stock.
Okay, NS, what did you make of Hindustan Copper?
Yeah, I too agree with Yash, because I think basically what is happening is the stock is continuously in a downfall, and the current rise, if you see, is very fractured rise. There is no support of volume, and worst case it can do on the higher side is 60. I doubt it can even cross 60, because there is a trend line that is coming down all the way. And then there is another strong resistance, that is 200 DEMA at 65. So yeah, I agree with the call from the Bloomberg as a sell on Hindustan Copper.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. And Kunal, before we move on, what's your view on Hindustan?
So yeah, what others are saying is correct, but at the same time, 53.5 should be the strict stop loss for any shorting, because since couple of months now the stock is consolidating. Also, if you look at the indicators, they are turning positive in terms of creating positive divergence.
Okay.
So I would think of shorting at present level. 33.5 will be the stop loss, 53.5 will be the stop loss. Above that, I'll turn bullish on it.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Hindustan Copper. Let's get on with the show. The first stock is Bata. Raja has given that stock call. We'll pull up the chart, and Raja, if you can join me to explain. It's a buy as per the moving average. What's the chart about, and what's the target and stop loss?
Correct. So if one could actually look at Bata charts, the chart has been moving in some consolidation at the start of the year, and since the mid-year, the prices started rising quite a bit. And now the pullback into the moving average system, which I have used here, it's a moving average crossover system, and the dip into the moving average offers a good support opportunity. And from here, the stock has closed well, and this closing last week indicated a positive opportunity out here. And the prices are now trading above the prices, and it definitely indicates a positive action. Also down here, I have used the RSI, and the RSI after a dip is now again witnessing some upside momentum, and all this indicates a positive outlook on this stock.
Okay, so what's the stop loss? What's the target?
Yeah, the target is around 1115 if you are a positional player, and if you're looking for a longer term, it's around 1200. And one could actually look at dip towards around the 980 to 970 zone as a buy opportunity also.
And what's the strict stop loss?
Stop loss is below 950.
Okay, 950 or 949 probably could be the stop loss that you're looking at. What's the time frame to your 1115 target?
Yeah, 1115 target, the time frame is 10 trading sessions.
Oh, in 10 trading sessions. So that's a smart move that is probably expected. Thanks so much for that, Raja. Fidai, what did you make of Bata? Are you bullish on
yeah,
Bata
looks good. Actually, it has made a double bottom. You can say a W formation.
Yeah.
And currently it is a flag formation over there. It's a very bullish, it is in a momentum also. The price has moved very strongly after the fall and taking that support around 200 DEMA. My friend has said here, I also believe 950 is a very good support because that is where the 50 DEMA is there. And you can take that as a very good area to accumulate and look for a bounce above that, and target could be 1100 and 1020 as he mentioned.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Bata. And Kunal, your view on Bata, we have got 2 positive comments. Would you agree?
So yeah, up to some extent, definitely I agree. But the problem is that the stock has really moved very sharper from 850 levels to around present level, which is 1030. I would wait for the stock to come down to say at least 975, 980 kind of levels where my risk-reward ratio goes favorable.
Okay.
And at that point of time, I would think of adding the more position.
Okay, so that's the view that we're getting on Bata. 2 of us analysts are rather bullish on it. Kunal's view is that he will wait for a correction to come into Bata close to 970, 75, and that's the time that he will buy it. The next stock is what NS Fidai is indicating. It's a power company, Torrent. You can join me here, Torrent Power, and I believe I read your tweet and you said it'll blast into space. So yeah, let's pull up and see if what makes it blast into space.
Like if you see on the long term, this is weekly chart I suppose, and if you see it has taken a very strong support on 200 VEMA, that is 200 weekly exponential moving average. Plus if you take a...
Is this the one, the red line?
No, this is the red line.
Okay, this red line.
Okay, and this trend line that is from top, it has not breathed that very strong, like earlier that was acting as a resistance, has now taken, the stock has taken support on this trend line, if you see here. So that is a very important level, and I would believe this stock is now currently trading above 50 VEMA also, which is again a positive sign. There is a minor resistance around 300. Once it crosses 300, we will be seeing something like 370. And if you look at a very long term, if you see from the long term point of view, the whole pattern is it was a cup and handle kind of pattern which got broken out. Retesting of it is happening right now. Moment it gives a upside move, we can even see much higher levels above 400 also.
So would you recommend buying at these levels?
I am I would be bullish on buying this in 3 tranches rather, I would say. So I would be buying somewhere at current level, and then on the dips also. Can we have a daily chart done?
Okay. We'll tell them to get the daily chart
so
done.
There are 2 levels where I would like to buy. One is on breakout above this trend line, which is 277, 278. Okay, and at the current level, which is 268. And if it dips to 245, and I will like to keep my stop loss around 232, which is nearer to this. Just this strong trend, candle that has been made, I believe that is a mother candle and it should not be breached so easily.
Okay, so what's the final target that
the target for the extreme short term for 4 to 5 weeks would be 300 and 370.
300 and 370. And how soon do you see this coming?
I see this happening in maybe 4 to 5 weeks or even in shorter time.
Okay, probably in month and a half is something that Fidai sees. Thank you so much for that. Kunal, are you bullish on Torrent as much as NS is?
So now what he is highlighting is very true. The trend line which he has made at the top is acting actually as a very strong resistance since February. The stock made 3 to 4 attempts to surpass 270 mark, but it failed. So at this point of time, from short-term perspective, I would think of going short, keeping the stop loss of 275.
Okay.
But the second it goes about 275, it would be a jump and buy opportunity.
Okay. So at this point of time, you believe that it's a short with a target price.
Because yeah, it's near to the resistance.
Okay, that's a contra view that we are getting in on Torrent Power. And what about you, Raja?
Yeah, I agree with NS. From June 2017 to the Jan 2018 high, the price doubled. And now the recent fall which we experienced in the start of the year, it has come into 61.8% of the entire rise. It's a very, very strong support in the technical parlance. And around 220 to 225 zone, the price has managed to retest the supports and now it's actually going up. And a channel breakout above 275 would augur well for the prices, and I would be a strong buyer, and it could actually take out its high around 310.
Okay, just a quick question, Fidai, before we move on. It's tried to move beyond the 275. It's managed to see that resistance. What makes you confident that this time around the resistance will be broken?
Because this is the third attempt basically. So usually it is consolidating just below that area. That is the reason I am more bullish, because I don't believe a stock would just keep on getting resisted over and over forever. So somewhere it has to give a breakout, and this is the third time the stock is coming nearer to that 275 area.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Torrent Power, and in fact this time around we have a contra view that's come in, and Kunal's first pick right now is in the pharma space. It's Cipla. And what's the view that's coming in on Cipla? We'll get the chart. It's an uptrend is intact. It's fallen significantly. But Kunal, you're bullish on the counter.
Yeah, so this is again on a positional basis I have taken up this stock. If you look at the stock from 2008 till now, the stock is clearly making uptrend.
Yeah. Every
time whenever it has reached these two lines, which is a parallel line, these are two parallel lines, it has bounced back from that level.
Achha.
So right now it's trading at 525. I would keep the stop loss of 500 and I'll try to buy the stock near to 500 itself. Okay. Now it's a positional call and we are looking at monthly chart of it. So my view is that if at all it gives a closing below 500 on monthly basis, I would definitely exit the position. I'll think of shorting the stock at that point of time. Otherwise, keeping the stop loss as 500, you can think of going long from here. And the stock can, bounce back to around 625, 630 kind of levels in 2 months' time.
In 2 months' time. What is the importance of these two parallel lines?
So, these two parallel lines
and what's the logic of that?
Yeah.
Just
so, from 2008 till now, you can see that there were many events where the stock reached that level itself, but the closing of the month surpassed, came on the higher side. Still, we are left with around 20 trading sessions in this month. So, there are bright chances that the stock may bounce back. On daily chart, it's extremely oversold. And the best part is that if you look at the moving average which is made here, that's 75 periods moving average. This moving average has again served as a support mark for 5 times.
Okay.
There are bright chances that the stock may bounce back. But yeah, keeping in mind that if you're a positional trader, then only this is a call for you. Second thing, if you're going long here, think of adding put of 500 strike price itself, so that on the lower side you are protected with gap down open, and at the same time if it closes below 500, I would think of shorting the stock with the target of 375 there.
Okay, so that's a hedge that Kunal has said. Thank you so much for that, Kunal. Fidai, Cipla, tricky situation. What would you say?
Well, Cipla is as he has said, and we see on the chart also, it is taking very strong support on those trend lines, and it's a multiple bottoms in that area. Only problem at the current juncture is the fall was with very strong volumes, which is not a very good sign. So the stock needs to, if it wants to negate this negativity, it has to cross 610, 620 at any cost. If it doesn't, then probably we'll see the retest of the the area again. And if it, as I said, if it breaks 500, then the hell will break loose on the stock.
Okay, so that's the view. Again, similar views that NS is also mirroring on what Kunal had said. And finally, what about you, Raja? What's your view?
I'm in agreement with them, because over the last few weeks, the weekly charts is definitely indicating lack of activity on the bullish side, and a strong negative candle which has emerged this week definitely does not bode well for the prices. Breakdown below the support trend line is also emerging on the cards, and one should actually be looking at it to short below say 520, or on a rally towards 555, because the strong is definitely on the negative side.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Cipla. So we've discussed 3 stocks till now. 3 more stocks left from a guest, and second stock again staying with the pharma space, and that's Raja's pick, and that is Dr. Reddy's. I believe it's a sell this time around.
Yeah. This is not the chart. This is not the chart.
Okay, so this is not the chart. Which chart do you want?
No, this is a weekly chart. The chart does not come up.
Okay, so I think we'll get it done. So let's move on to what, we'll try to get it rectified, but let's move on to Fidai's chart then. Let's pull up that stock, and we'll discuss what NS has in store for us. And it's Shriram Transport Finance. Let's get that up. It's a sell on rise strategy.
Yeah, so basically if you see this, the stock has been in a channel. It's in a falling channel, and currently it is resisted around 200 DEMA. That is the white line here.
Okay.
And there is another resistance, that is the parallel line of the channel, which is coming around 1300. And if we take one more trend line from here, and from here up to here, then we'll get something like 1360, which is also coinciding with the convergence of two moving averages here. Rather, I use 5. Okay, so it's a huge convergence and it has taken a fall. So this kind of falls, which I usually call as waterfall. Okay, so the waterfall has occurred here. The people who are stuck here would like to exit when the price comes to their area. Okay. So I believe there will be a very strong resistance in 1300, 1350 range. One should not look at the breakouts and go bullish. Rather, they should book their profits if they are holding this, and they should they should think of buying it nearer to 1100. That would be the better bet on this stock.
So at current market price of 1230, what should one do? Should they short at this level?
No. If you short at this level, probably we need to see it that it go below this area, which is I would say 1195 should be a better bet if you want to go short.
So what's the strategy? Strategy that you would short.
I would like to go short on the higher level, but not do anything.
What level would you short? What level would you short?
1300, 1350, between 1300, 1350.
Okay, so as of now, it's a no trade zone.
Yeah, it's a no trade zone.
And if it falls below certain level,
I am trying to give a caution to our viewers, because basically what happens, people look at 200 demo breakout and they would like to be bullish. Another trend line is coming, which is again a bullish sign for technicals. Okay. So people will go bullish. Okay. Rather, because of this convergence here and the waterfall that has happened, people who are already stuck at this level around 1300, 1360, they would like an exit. Okay. Because they have seen the fall.
But wouldn't they have exited in this fall?
No, they usually I have seen only the traders exit. Okay. The investors and long-term players don't exit so easily. Okay. So they are sticky players. So basically they will not exit. So they will want to exit around this area. Okay.
So that's the strategy. Fair enough. That's the view. Thanks so much for that. Kunal, your view on Shriram Transport?
So if I look at Shriram Transport monthly chart, it's in uptrend since 2009. It's clearly making higher top, higher bottoms. Recently, since February and March, this stock is making lower top, lower bottom. What he highlighted was perfect, but at the same time, recently from the fall of 900, it has just given a mono wave and straight away till 1230. So if by any chance this stock emerges as a new uptrend stock and makes a higher top, higher bottom formation, probably about 1300, where he is trying to say that people may think of shorting, I'll wait for the uptrend to emerge at that point of time and I'll go long about 1350 kind of levels.
Okay, so that's the contradictory view that's coming in. And Raja, your view on Shriram Transport?
Yeah, the stock has definitely rallied, but on the weekly charts, I see a positive divergence here. So one should actually be looking at it from a short-term perspective on the buy side, and one should actually be, I am having a contra view, I should actually be looking to go long. Okay. Because I see a positive divergence here, a strong long body candle of last week, and no give up on the upside. So if it moves above 1300, one should actually be looking to go long. Okay. The stop loss below 1280 for an upside of 1350.
Okay, so we're getting contradictory views on Shriram Transport. Only time will say what will happen. But that's the view that's happened. That's the view that's come out on Shriram Transport, and everyone has their own logic. That's the view that we have to say. Glenmark is something that Kunal wants to talk about. Let's pull up the chart. What's the view, Kunal? Is it a bullish sign?
Yes. So you look at the Glenmark chart. Yeah. It's a weekly chart again. Clearly, it's a downtrend which is continuing right now. Since last couple of months, we can see that the stock is in consolidation. Now there are few things to look at here. First is that it's making a falling wedge kind of pattern. In falling wedge, the first higher top, higher bottom, which is emerged from this level, which is giving me the signs that this time the stock may break up our 700 mark. Second, if you look at the last wave, this fall is exactly 78.6% of the last wave, which is a very bullish sign. And third is, if you look at the last formation, which is a clear inverse head and shoulder formation. Okay. If I look at the monthly chart of the same, Elliott wave A, B and C are complete. And now we are heading for a new uptrend, which is the beginning of wave 1, 2 and 3. Okay. I am considering this to be first wave, this considering the second wave, we are heading for the third wave, and this is the beginning of the third wave. Okay. I would think of going long on the stock above 700 mark. That's the first point. Keeping the stop loss of 650 and expecting the stock to reach 850, which is the bare minimum level. Okay. And the second strategy would be, when the stock goes into consolidation kind of formation. So buy near to 675 mark, keep the stop loss of 575, and then continue the rally on
675. So pretty much where it is.
Sorry, it's 575 mark, which is near to the previous bottom itself, somewhere here. If it continues
so at this level, it's a no trade zone for Glenmark?
It's near to the breakout level. So, that's the reason I thought of highlighting the stock. It's today trading at around 678, 680 kind of levels.
So above 700 is
above 700, I'll go long.
Okay, no problem. Fair enough. Thanks for that, Kunal. Raja, your view on Glenmark?
Yeah, I'm extremely positive on Glenmark, but I would wait because it has run up quite a bit. Either you trade on a pullback towards the 650 to 625 zone, or trade on the breakout. If you're a breakout trader, trade above 710.
Okay, so again,
stock is getting out of the range, so the momentum indicators are supporting a positive upside. So one should actually be looking with a positive frame of mind.
Okay, NS.
Well, I would be like a bit on this thing like cautious side here, because it has given a run up. I would like to buy on dips around 625, 630, and on the upside, if it is if it jumps up, I would like to go short around 711.
Okay.
And keep a stop loss at 721.
Okay. Okay, so that's again, we're getting contradictory views as far as the Glenmark is concerned, and the final stock, at least from our guest, and that's Dr. Reddy. We spoke about it. The chart was not well, but let's hope, fingers crossed. Yeah, is this the right chart?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
So as you can see, the stock, after giving a rise since the start of the year, it started consolidating and it's making now lower highs. The lower high formation definitely indicates that there is some pressure building up. This is a weekly chart, and right now the pressure is on this trend line, the dotted line, which is a trend line, which is indicating that this trend line is about to break down. So it's a good opportunity to sell early, unlike Cipla. So if you look at a short in the pharma space, this is one good candidate. And also the negative DI lines, which I have used here, the ADX concept. The negative DI lines is inching up, which says that the bears are definitely in control of the stock. So all this entirely puts a good pressure on the prices, and one should actually be considering a short opportunity in this stock.
So at 2412, so should you short at this level?
Yeah, you should short at this level. You should short on a rise towards 2450 to 70 with a stop loss about 2500 for a drop towards 2350 to 2325. And furthermore, target towards the 2250 mark.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. Thank you so much for that. What about you, Kunal? Dr. Reddy's, anyway, some negative news has already come in. On the fundamental side is what I want to say. But on the technicals, what are you looking at?
So, I somewhat agree what he's trying to say is if the trend line is taken out on the lower side, definitely it's a short. But at the same time, if I look at the weekly chart of it, somewhat the formations are almost on the line of Glenmark, which is almost on the same line itself. So, either shorting at this level or thinking of shorting at near to 2600, keeping the stop loss of 2650. But by any chance, if the stock goes about 2650, I would think of going positionally long on.
Okay, what about you, NS?
As I agree with Raja, because you see the chart is actually inverted cup and handle. Cup and handle would be a bullish pattern, but inverted cup and handle would be a very bearish pattern. Okay, so if it breaks the median, the bottom that it has made around 2368, he has mentioned 2400, and I would be a bit cautious. I would go short on the lesser, then I would be bearish around 2350.
Okay.
But the targets are not very high. It could give you a 10% move on the downside because there are some supports over there also.
Okay. Okay, so that's the view that's coming in on Dr. Reddy's. And before we wrap the show, let's head across again to Yash Upadhyay, who has one more stock from us. It's on Jubilant Foodworks. Yeah.
That's right, Darshan. So we'll end the show on a positive note. A buy call coming in on Jubilant Foodworks. The sharp correction that the market saw, Jubilant Foodworks not the only one to be saved from it. We saw sharp correction there. It went from the levels of 1600 to as low as about 1000. But since then, it has been in a narrow range about the 1000 to 1100 mark. And what it means over here with today's move is that the MACD indicator that has signaled an early buy, that has given an early buy signal with the blue line crossing over the white signal line. So that could be a positive when it comes to Jubilant Foodworks, and could look for targets in excess of 6% from these current levels.
Okay, so what's the if you back tested this, what's the success ratio?
That's the success ratio. So basically, over the last 1 year, every time you went long when the indicator turned positive, it would have given you returns in excess of about 6%.
6%. Okay, that's the view that's coming in on Jubilant Foodworks. We'll ask a guest before we end the show. Kunal, I'll start with you. Jubilant Foodworks, it's Friday, it's pizza time. Is it good time to buy the stock?
So thinking from eating point of view, yeah, it's good. But from charts perspective, I'm little cautious. 1050 strong support on the higher side. 1200 turns out to be 200 days moving average.
Okay.
So even if you're going long here, the stop loss is very nearby. But at the same time, 1175 would be the max upside for time being.
Okay, time being this thing. And what about you, NS?
Well, I see, like, the stock has made a peak somewhere in 2015, around 10th July 2015, around 980. And that is the exact area where it has taken support. And I believe that is a very good area to go long, because that is the retest of that breakout area. So as
wait and watch.
Yeah, no, I would buy on dips rather around 980ish.
Okay, what about you, Raja?
Yeah, I would not be getting into this stock right now, because yes, it has come to a good support around 980 to 1000 zone, but the candles are not indicating good buying interest emerging. And like Yash rightly pointed out, if you want to actually go in for an early buy, you could take a chance and go long.
Okay, so that's the view that's coming in. Two of our guests say that it's more of a chance, but they will wait until any kind of dip before they start going long on Jubilant Food. But with that, it's a wrap on today's Hot Money. Kunal, NS, and Raja, thank you so much for joining in. Happy New Year, Happy Diwali to all you guys.
Happy New Year.
Ask BQ comes up next. Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.